think that, yeah, and so people ask Kansas House people these questions, right? And I think that they don't understand who does what a lot of the times, and there's a lot of education that needs to happen. Like property taxes, it doesn't do as much good to come yell at the state house about property taxes. You need to go and do that at your county and your city level, right? And I think there's a little more apprehension of people to get that serious to critique their local because they know them.
Sometimes.
And I mean, everybody, even Wichita, which is a big city, everybody knows everybody. Like I know people that I didn't know knew each other and stuff. It's still pretty all really connected regardless of its size. And so like the mayor, like people went to high school with her, they grew up with her, they've been friends with her for 20, 30 years. And so it makes it harder when she does things that people don't like, or a city council member does things that people don't like, for them to get critiqued because you're critiquing their friend or their spouse or their former teacher or somebody they have a personal knowledge. Going off about somebody like Ty Masterson that nobody really knows where I'm from, it's abstract.
Yeah.
Railing against the government.
That's right.
But when you're railing against my friend that I went to high school with, it's harder to get them to open their ears and listen to the critiques of those representatives. And they're certainly not doing it themselves. They gloss it over with who they know they do to be. So I think there's like a layer there that keeps people from truly engaging with the local politics. Like they'll pay attention, but to truly engage with it and do what's necessary to push back and keep. Because that's the job of the citizens. Like you go to the state house, and it is up to those people that put their name on. And that's why I take voting so seriously. Because if I vote for you, then anything you do after that is my fault. You know what I mean? I used my voice to rise you up into that position. And I think there's so many people that start taking this seriously enough.
Yeah, and it starts with the education, and part of that is we remove so much of the civics courses in our school, so people don't even know this. So we talked about how I had ran last time. Actually, in 2016, I signed up to run for president for the 2020 election because
the United States.
Yeah, because the 2016 election.
Did you ask your wife before you?
No, I didn't do that either. Maybe I did. I don't know. It was a very unserious campaign, but it was for my students because we had watched the 2016 election together, and at that point in time, I was teaching a marketing class, and my kids didn't know anything about politics, and this was at a high school level. They didn't know the difference at all between Democrats or Republicans. They didn't know that third parties existed at all. They didn't understand the process of government at all. And I'm like, okay, we're going to walk through this step by step. And so we filled out the paperwork, went to the Federal Election Commission, mailed that in, made a little campaign thing and stuff like that. And then this year I'm trying to do some of the same stuff with some of my kids. Again, I can't get political, I can't share my views about it. And
it's
if I try, I'm
I'm
trying to teach them the process, and that's a challenge as a teacher too. I know some teachers, they'll let their kids know if they're running and stuff like that, or they're just much more vocal on social media, so the kids are going to find out. But like when I ran last time, like even my coworkers, until the very last minute, didn't know.
The kids are on Facebook.
We're old people, So I try to hide all this from my kids. That and with teenagers, they're going to be ornery. So even though I'm sure they all love me, but they're ornery. So I try not to let them know, and I don't want my politics to influence them at all, because that would be inappropriate, I think. But I am trying to teach them the steps, who's in charge of what. So like you said, complain to your state about something that's being done at the school board level. You should talk to your school board about that. Or is it a county level issue? Or you don't need to run and write letters to the president every time something locally happens.
I paid attention to Wichita City Council a lot the last couple of years. So I've watched a lot of them. And I say 2 or 3 times a year, there's somebody that goes in there and it's like Parks and Rec, and they are just going off about, they are mad about something for 5 minutes that has nothing to do with anything, and the council just, and then they let them leave, and they're like, next, and I'm just like, why are you yelling at the council about that?
It's interesting.
But there's a huge gap in education altogether, and I think that as a House person, a House member is part of your job to communicate with your constituents continually through the session. I've talked to the other people about this too that I've interviewed, but not just sending something out after the fact, like letting them know if there's opportunities to talk about it, and not in a way that's telling them how to vote on it or talk about it or whether it's supported or not supported, just strictly the facts, educationally. And I think that's one reason that teachers would be good to put in there, because like the House level, I think you have more capacity to do that education because you have a much smaller pool of people.
Absolutely.
And I mean, look, the district's only 25,000 and maybe 16 or 17,000 are actually voting age, but out of that, it's 6 or 7 if you're lucky that actually care enough to vote. And so you're not trying to educate too many people at the Kansas House level. I mean, Wichita City Council members have 50,000 people they're dealing with. They need more districts. That's a whole other. But yeah, so like I think 25,000 people, and you boil it all down, you're really just trying to reach maybe 6 or 7,000 that are actively voting adults. You should be able to educate that many people.
Right. Yeah, and that's definitely one of my goals, and one of the reasons is, or at least one of my expectations if I win this time, is the current constituent that's in there, or current individual that's in there right now, he does not communicate at all with either you know him because you don't like him, or you don't know who he is and stuff like that. Francis Alverkamp. And yeah, he doesn't communicate, doesn't have Facebook or any social media, doesn't send out newsletters. Hardly. He's actually younger than me. Yeah.
You can see that with the 80-year-olds, right? Anybody
But yeah, he doesn't get out and communicate, doesn't come to typically the town councils. He did actually show up for one yesterday up in Holton, but I think that's just because I'm running against him this time, so he's starting to come out of his shell a little bit. But yeah, no, I fully plan on getting out there and doing all the town councils I can. I've been trying to go to city council meetings, going to American Legion meetings. I want to contact all, like I said, I've got 10 different schools in my school district, or in my
just opportunities
district.
For people to see you and talk to you and ask you questions that don't cost you money.
Exactly.
And that's the problem, is that it's on both sides a lot of times. There's a Democrat thing that's happening here, and I'd love to go to it, but I don't have the money to pay for the dinner and all that stuff, so I can't go and talk to the candidates in that capacity. A couple of them said, why don't you come up to Washington Days? I wish you could talk to a whole bunch of people. I'm like, because I don't have the money to go up there. You know, don't make me say that. But yeah, and once you're elected, especially, there's the opportunity. I shouldn't have to pay for your time. You already got $44,000 account. And the thing is, like, they raised it to what I would consider like how much I made in my last full-time job. But then it's only 3 months out of the year, or 4 months. Sometimes they stretch it out till May, I've seen. At worst, 5 months. So it's, what are you doing? You're supposed to be doing stuff the other 7 months to get to know your constituents, what they want, and how they feel about the last session, and what they think you should do better, or what you should fight for next session. That way you can start making policies and plans and bills you want to pass, so when this session, because they can submit them early. I saw those online, like pre-submitted ones. If you've been talking to your people all through the summer, then you should be able to get that ready to submit it by December, and actually have a plan that you want to put in place to help your people. And they're not doing any of that stuff in the 7 months. They're campaigning, they're raising money, they're having events with the commerce and the business associations and stuff. They're just having town halls where people can come ask them questions or talk to them. They don't answer phones. They don't respond to emails. And a lot of them have other full-time jobs that they do those other months. They may own their own business or be in farming or something like that. So some aren't able to, some are on the older end, and so they need months to recover and whatever. But yeah, I definitely intend, if I get this position, to be out there on a regular basis talking, not even just to the ones that are actually getting out and voting, but don't take the job.
Right.
Don't. I mean, they're not even just taking the job; they're actively demanding they get the job, right? So if you can't do all of the job, then just don't run for office. I'm sorry if your lifestyle or your job or your age or whatever reasons. There's reasons I don't run for office. Because my life I wouldn't be able to do a good job doing it because I can't focus that much. And you have to be able to do that to run for office.
And that's one of the reasons I'm running now. Is my youngest, he'll be graduating in May, and so I feel like my life has opened up to a point that I can devote this and do this.
Bandwidth. And you've done it before and figured out some things. At least, and it wasn't that long ago where it's changed too much. But
so I feel like I'm just at that right stage of life to be able to do it.